I think the energy transition for upstream companies really means two things. One is the necessity to plan for possible downside on future oil and gas demand. That's in case of greater penetration or earlier penetration by renewables, so there's demand uncertainty. And secondly, maybe even a more immediate aspect, is that investors in the oil and gas companies are more keen than ever to see effort to reduce direct hydrocarbon emissions and to plan for the medium term when there might be a lower demand scenario. So I think the way I would characterize what the upstream companies are actually doing, there are three things. The first thing I would highlight really is the efforts to reduce emissions in their operations. So, and applying technology to do that. So, for example, using drones to detect continuously potential leakages from oil field installations and to act straight away if that happens. I think production operations, using technologies to optimize the fluid flows to prevent slugging, to prevent breakthrough on water, keep operations flowing, if you like, smoothly, which usually means more efficient energy use and therefore lower emissions. And I think even in operations such as flaring, which is already something that companies will limit, there's still some running room perhaps where you do have to flare to look at ways to optimize the flare so that a higher percentage of the emitted gas is actually burnt. So I think technology applied to emissions reduction is one area. I think the second area that I would highlight is just cost leadership, constant attention to reducing costs through innovation. That doesn't always mean through high tech. What we're seeing is that costs have come down a lot in the last few years, maybe 20% since 2014, simply through the application of simpler project designs, the reuse of existing designs, modularization, simplification, standardization, if you like, the greater use of sensors that allows condition-based monitoring, that means that equipment on the facilities can be optimized, reduced even, by being able to predict when failures are going to occur, and therefore having smaller kind of footprint on facilities. These things help to reduce the cost by reducing the amount of space and people that are actually needed on board. I think that's a very important part. And I think the third area is simply focusing portfolio. The oil and gas sector has started over the last few years to focus on areas, the companies are focusing on areas that they're good at. We see it a lot in North America with the concentration of specialists there, but even in offshore operations, companies moving into mature areas that they know well and where there are existing fields and infrastructure that they can exploit and tie in nearby fields and thereby reduce the cycle time, if you like, from discovery to first oil. So these things are all things that directly reduce emissions, reduce costs, increase efficiency, and really position the companies well for the energy transition.